Check, check. Check, check. Check, check. Is that good? Up. Up a little bit. Check, check. Good. All right. For those of you who aren't done eating dinner, please don't stop on my account, but we are going to get started here with the speaking portion, and we do have what I consider to be somewhat of a murderer's row of speakers this evening. But before we get to them, I do want to recognize the office holders who are here tonight. We'll start with Newark City Councilman Jeremy Blake. If you could raise your hand. Newark City Councilwoman Carol Floyd. Newark City Councilwoman Dee Hall. Ward 7, soon-to-be Councilman Sean Fennell. Sean, I got you. All right. Franklin County Recorder Danny O'Connor. Jen House, the president of the Ohio Young Democrats. Grace Charrington, the chairperson of the Richland County Democrats. Andrea Eastman, president of the Licking County Board of Elections. It says president. I'm sorry, I have to read directly from it. And John McManus, all the way from the Dayton City School Board. All right, our first speaker this evening is going to be Newark City Councilmember Jeremy Blake. Jeremy is a Newark native and he represents the city's 2nd Ward. He has served on council since 2014 and he was chair of the Finance Committee. He is a current chair of the Economic Development Committee. Jeremy is a 1996 graduate of Newark High School, and he would later go on to serve on the Newark City School Board. As a member of council, he has been instrumental in advancing LGBT civil rights and tackling our city's drug epidemic. I also think he might happen to make a pretty good state treasurer. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Blake.
Wow. I don't, well, first of all, as Chris said, thank you, Chris, for the introduction. My name is Councilman Jeremy Blake, right here from Newark, Ohio, and it's just a pleasure to be here. Friends, family, activists. Seth often says that he's excited, and I don't know about you, but I'm excited as well tonight. Are you excited to be here tonight to support Seth? This thing's up in my face, so hold on. I'm not that tall, Jake. Couldn't see the people. All right, that'll work. Thank you, sir. But it's exciting to be here, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight with all of you because tonight, here with all of you, support Seth on his quest to be the next 6th Ward councilman. That's an exciting thing to do because that's going to be a change that we need. But tonight is also so special because we also have another son of Newark that brings pride to our city. And he travels and performs, and he is a reminder of the talent and the skill raised right here in Licking County. This young man, we want to thank him for his love and spreading the message of hope, truth, and life. And I'm glad to call him a friend. I'm also glad he adjusted my microphone. But let's give Jake McCoy a round of applause. You know, as you can imagine, I do have a lot on my mind recently. And I find myself often listening to Jake's music on Spotify, and it just calms me. And so you probably heard him play earlier he has his own sort of style with the folk rock and the acoustic blues that he plays. But I just really want you to know that I appreciate you, Jake. I know you make so many people in Lincoln County proud of the work that you do across this state and across the nation. I mean, you've traveled, well, actually worldwide, so you've been out of the country a few times. So I will put a shameless plug in. Jake does have merchandise in this corner. And so if you liked his music, we already got someone who bought a CD, so there we go. So if you want to be a Barefoot McCoy groupie, I would encourage you to purchase a t-shirt or something. I would have worn my t-shirt, Jake, but I didn't feel Seth would like that. So, but we do want to support Jake McCoy and all of Barefoot's music. Another person I do want to single out and who I'm very thankful for being here tonight is my dear friend John McManus. John's a graduate of Dayton Law School, and he's a member of the Dayton City Schools Board of Education. And I just want to, if we could just thank him one more time for traveling all the way from Dayton to come here tonight. You know, John's a great public servant, and he's also going to help me raise some money, so thank you. You know. But we're here tonight to talk about Seth and talk about the 6th Ward and talk about the change that Newark needs. I hope that with your presence here tonight that you agree with me that the 6th Ward is ready for change. The people living in those neighborhoods on the north side of our city deserve a new direction. They deserve new representation, and a new voice is needed for the 6th Ward. And I'm proud to stand here and say tonight that Seth would be a great addition to Newark City Council. Seth would be a megaphone for opportunity. Seth has the energy to make that positive change for the 6th Ward, but even more importantly, Seth has that bright light, not just because of the golden hair, but he has that bright light of the sun that'll make our whole city better. I've known Seth for some time now. We both attend the United Church of Granville, and I know there's members of the congregation here tonight, and the church has always been supportive, so if we could give members of the United Church of Granville applause, let's do that. And if you ever want to know, we're the church that has the rainbow flag in Granville, so you all are welcome. Everyone is welcome. But something that we learn, and we talk about this often in church, is why do people come back Sunday after Sunday to go to a weekly place of gathering for spiritual growth? And my personal reason is because of our pastor. Dwight Davidson has taught us to live our lives in peace. And he uses the term shalom. We often hear Dwight say this, shalom. He says it, I won't say every Sunday, but quite frequently. And to live in right relationship with others. Seth exhibits that quality daily. I've observed Seth, his compassion for helping people. He, along with his family, have organized trips, and I know several of his family members over here in this corner of the room. But he and his family have organized trips and have mobilized people, traveling to Central America to volunteer at Rancho Ebenezer to help people in their lives to have a better quality of life and seeing firsthand the issues of poverty. And I know you've done that well before I even became a member of the church, and that's something to be admired. So from his parents, both Dan and Nancy, and let's give a round of applause for Dan and Nancy. From his parents, and that volunteering is where Seth's learned that quality, that shalom. I've also seen Seth volunteer, and he works at the local YMCA, working with teenagers and families to promote an active, healthy lifestyle. If those of you that have visited Hollander Pool, you may have seen him working there to assure the safety of swimmers. Seth has volunteered at summer camps to give people hope, being patient and caring to people with disabilities. And for all of this, Seth has already proven to be a leader, a servant leader, a leader that puts others ahead of himself. Seth has a strong work ethic as a small business owner and a farmer here in Licking County. And I think Seth mentioned to me once that he's going to have plans of having some of that produce downtown at the Canal Market District. And so I'll put in another plug. Hopefully we all get a discount at that produce. But we'll hopefully see you down there and support our new farmers market. But what I've learned is, I'm not a farmer. My college education was in economics. I have helped my mom. I don't know where my mom's sitting over there. I've helped her with some gardening, but nothing near being a farmer. But I've noticed this about farmers. Farmers have to turn the ground. They have to turn the dirt in order for new life to grow. Essentially flip the dirt. And just like a farmer, it's time to flip the dirt and bring opportunity for new growth. And the current 6th Ward councilman has been there for nearly 16 years. I think it's time to support Seth and time to flip the 6. I think for coming together and building a strong community, we can flip the 6. For promoting more block parties instead of block watches, we can flip the 6. And for a member of council that will listen to neighbors, be engaged, be a partner with residents, we can flip the 6 and vote for Seth this fall. This past weekend, many of us celebrated our military heroes and their families, and we are grateful and give honor to all those. Some of us also celebrated this past weekend the fact that President Kennedy would have celebrated his 100th birthday. President Kennedy, during his acceptance speech at the 1960 Democratic National Convention, spoke of a new frontier. His vision for a new frontier was not a set of promises, it was a set of challenges. The new frontier sums up not what President Kennedy intended to offer to the American people, but what he intended to ask of us. He challenged the American people to use imagination, courage, and perseverance. He called upon the American people to be strong and of good courage, be not afraid, neither be dismayed. For courage, not complacency, is in our need today. Leadership, not salesmanship. President Kennedy challenge to the American people in the 60s needs to be re-energized today. There are those that follow rhetoric, but I, along with many of you, have seen the need for true leadership. Many of us here tonight have made phone calls to Pat Teaberry's office, to Rob Portman's office. We've attended marches and rallies. We have displayed the courage that President Kennedy once called upon. Our ends will not be won by the rhetoric or tweets, but won by sharing our values. We must have hope in a better tomorrow. We must have faith in one another, and we must use love to empower and organize as a people for righteousness and justice. Humble ourselves that the power of love will always overcome the love of power. When Seth came to me last year, and I am going to share this story, Seth. When he came to me last year and told me about his ambition to run for city council, and I say ambition in a positive way, because anyone that gets into elected office, you have to believe in yourself and believe that you have something to offer to people. So I use that term in a very positive way. But Seth came to me and he started talking. I think his mom Nancy even came over to me after church and she says, don't you just listen to him? Just listen to him. He's very energized right now, but just listen to him. But I did listen to Seth, and he was telling me about his plans of wanting to run for the 6th Ward. And initially I said no. I said, no, you shouldn't do that. The 6th Ward it's hard for a Democrat. I in my opinion, in my mind, using my political calculations and using the political brain that I have, I was like, well, we need to play it safe here. We need to play it by the numbers. Let's set a path for you where you can succeed and where you can grow and not set your first election up for failure. It was at that moment where I was looking at that success for Seth. In my mind at that time, I was thinking that way. I was suggesting that Seth wait until 2019, because in 2019 we'll have some at-large council seats up, and you only have to be the top vote getter of 1 of 3 in order to win an at-large seat in city council for Newark. But I'll tell you this tonight, after seeing Seth work for several months, he's proven me wrong. Seth, with his determination, has really inspired me, because I've seen the work that he's done. I've seen the work and the way he's already coordinated his campaign and the dedication that he's putting to already door knocking. I mean, his election's not till November, but he's already door knocking, getting the opinions of people and getting the thoughts and ideas from people. But this determination and inspiration is really something that the person needs in order to run for elected office. It has to come from your heart. There's a calling, just as there's a calling to ministry or a calling to other professions, but there's a calling to believe that you have something to offer people. And when a person feels that passion to want to serve an elected office, we must try. We must prove ourselves and move ourselves forward, and we've got to give it the best shot we can. I kind of find myself in a similar situation with what I'm trying to do. So Seth, thank you for that inspiration that you've given me. Even if the odds are against us, trying is important. The journey itself is rewarding. And as I prepare my own campaign to make this huge leap from small city progressive to being a candidate for statewide office, I want to thank Seth for giving me that energy and that fire in my belly that I sort of just easily and safely tucked away. But then and now, today, is a time to act and be engaged. With all the things happening in our country, we need people with courage, we need people of goodwill, and we need people with tenacity. We need people to run for elected office, and we need men like Seth on city council. So as we're here tonight, we're going to work with Seth. We're going to, just as we did with Sean, to get him through his council election, we're going to work with Seth, and we're going to flip the 6. And I just want to ask you all tonight, are you ready to work with this man to make him the next 6th Ward Councilman? We're going to flip the 6 in November, and I'm going to welcome you to Newark City Council in January. Thank you so much, Seth, and thank you.
I have to apologize to our next speaker, Danny O'Connor, for being in the unfortunate position of having to follow that. I will say the state treasurer's office is in desperate need of integrity. The current occupant doesn't have an ounce of it. And I know that if Jeremy is our next state treasurer, he will be someone that Newark can be proud of and that the state of Ohio can be proud of. But I will have to disagree with you on one thing, Jeremy. I don't think it's as big of an uphill battle here in the 6th Ward as maybe you think it is. If we look at the past election results here in the 6th Ward, this was one of the better performing wards for Democrats in the city of Newark. It is ripe to be flipped. And Seth is just the right person with the right amount of energy to be able to do that. All you got to do is beat me by about 5% here, and you'll take it. Our next speaker is Franklin County Recorder Danny O'Connor. Now, as an attorney, I've been very fortunate to be able to practice law in both Licking and Franklin County, and I can tell you that the reputation of Danny just in the few months that he's been in that position has been incredible. The work that he's done in that office to turn it around and make it a more efficient place for people who live in Franklin County. It is a reputation that you have earned. Danny was recently elected in November of 2016. He's the son of an educator. The need to give back to his community was instilled in him from a young age. It was this belief that led him to serve him in the poorest neighborhoods of the United States, to become politically active in the Democratic Party, and now to serve as the Franklin County Reporter. Danny is committed to public service, justice for all, and good government, and emphasizes these values in every single day as reporter. Please, everybody, give a warm welcome to Danny O'Connor, Franklin County Reporter.
I don't know if I can take this off. Am I allowed to give it something? Well, I know that I know I'm in the right place. I grew up in Shelby County, Ohio, which is like Licking County, a rural county, and to hear some farm references, to hear Councilman Blake reference crop rotation and how the soil needs to change is really the perfect analogy for what needs to happen in Newark. And to also hear a quote from about our 35th president, who represented us so well. And finally, as the youngest countywide executive we've ever had in Franklin County, it's great to be around someone who's running for office that's younger than me, and Seth. And you know, for him to be 20 years old and to be pursuing this service with such passion is something that you all should be so thankful for. And I know that as a county to the west, we're so thankful that he's running. That's why I'm here tonight, to come out and support Seth, because I believe in him. I've had a lot of conversations with him about his vision for what this community can be and how dedicated he is to this community. I know he's grown up here, he's a small business owner here, and to put on this type of event for your first campaign kickoff is just remarkable. I remember my first kickoff over 2 years ago, and it started at 5, and I'm checking my watch, and it's 5:02, and there's no one there, and it's 5:05, and there's no one there. And it turns out that someone had sent out that it started at 5:30. So the whole half an hour before it started, I thought no one was coming to my first event. So for Seth to have this type of turnout, I think speaks volumes to the type of investment that this community is going to give to him. And it's good to see some of our friends in labor. I know we have some folks with the IAFF here. I'm sure we have a few educators here, I hope, who are out here to support Seth. And of course, Councilman Blake. I think that if there's ever a petition to stop him from running for statewide office, it would come from people here in Newark, because you don't want to lose him, because he's such a committed and dedicated public servant. And it's great to see him going out and having a conversation about the things that he thinks that he can do, and I know he can do, for the state. And what an upgrade he would be over the person we have in the treasurer's office right now, wouldn't he be? I mean, it would be just remarkable to have someone like that. But you know, I've talked to Seth a lot about you know, what local government's like, and what it means to fight for people in your local community, whether it's your firefighters, whether it's your teachers, whether it's working for economic development. And he gets it. And there's not a lot of people in politics who truly get it. I know he's got an opponent who, unlike Jeremy attending a council meeting tonight, tends to miss some council meetings. That's not getting it done for your community. And when you're elected by people, they invest in you. You're called the honorable when you're an elected official, because you owe it to your community to do everything that you can for every single person in that community. It doesn't matter what their skin color is, doesn't matter how much money they have, it doesn't matter their sexual orientation, their religion. You have to do everything you can to make sure that the next generation in the community that you serve has more opportunity than the current one. And that's something that Seth gets. And that's something that he's committed to, and that's something that he's going to take to the 6th Ward when we flip it and when we inaugurate him in January. And right now, there's a real opportunity right now for local government. We see what's going on at the federal level. We know what's going on at the state level. They're shifting budgets, 5% less, 5% less for mental health, for fighting opioids, for education, for mental services, for our firefighters. And it's a time for local government to shine. And it's a time to be innovative, and it's a time to demonstrate the type of commitment that I just talked about that we need to all of our citizens. When I first ran for office, I challenged an incumbent in the Democratic primary. And everyone said to me, you can't win. But we went out every single day. I knocked on doors. I raised money, which is so important. It's so great that there's so many people here tonight. And I just had conversations about the type of office that I wanted to run. I know Seth's going to do that because I've asked him. I said, are you going to knock on doors? Are you going to raise money? Are you going to have conversations with folks from every background? And he will. And he will represent people so well here in Newark and will be a part of the change that we need to see in this community and that we need to see all over this state. So thank you all so much for inviting me here. It's a true pleasure to be here, and it's a true pleasure to be here with Seth, who's going to just represent people so well. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You know, I don't know that everyone here can truly appreciate just how incredible it is to get an elected official from Franklin County to come out here to Arlington County. So thank you so much for being here, Danny. And it really is a testament, you talk about youth, to the leadership that we've had with the state, Ohio Young Democrats. Thank you, Jen House, for recruiting great candidates. And you know, I'll tell you, it's tough when you're young and you're out running for office and you knock on a door and someone says to you, are you old enough? And I was able to point to some gray hair to suggest that I was, in fact, old enough. I don't know that you're going to get to do that, Seth. But I'll tell you, you know, at your age, most young people aren't doing what you're doing. They aren't going out there and working for their community. I know when I was your age, I was thinking about where I was going to go for the next Ohio State tailgate. And the generation of millennials gets somewhat of a bad rep in that it's believed that maybe they're lazy or entitled. They have so many things that have been given to them. But that's not true. I think just like every generation, you have leaders who will step forward at the right time and show that they're willing to work hard to serve their community. And Seth is one of those leaders. And I would sure hope that you're going to be able to knock on just about every door in this ward. I tried to do it, and I believe that you'll be able to make sure that you touch every voter and let them know what your vision for this community is going to be. And let them know that you're going to show up to every council meeting. So our final speaker this evening is Newark City Council candidate Seth Dobbelaer. Seth is running for the 6th Ward, as we all know. He's the son of Nancy and Dan. Seth wants to represent all the residents of his community. He's the co-owner and operator of Dobbelaer Services, LLC, and the co-operator of Charlie's Apples. As a volunteer at the Amesville, New England Parish, and a YMCA employee, Seth is passionate about public service. He's also one of 30 delegates in the state of Ohio who's been selected to represent us at the Young Democrats of America National Convention. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to your next Newark City Council 6th Ward representative, Seth Dobbelaer.
Thank you, Chris. Wow, I am floored by the amount of support that I've gotten here tonight, and it is just incredible to see you all come out, and thank you very much. I'm gonna try to keep it short because it's almost past my curfew. So I want to start by thanking our speakers, Councilmember Jeremy Blake, Danny O'Connor, Chris. Your words and guidance tonight have been extremely impactful, and I will never forget your willingness to come out and support me. So thank you very much. I also want to give a special thanks to the Trout Club. And could we also please have a round of applause for our entertainer of the evening, Barefoot McCoy. Jake, you really put the fun in the fundraiser tonight, so thank you very much. But I do want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and spending your evening with us tonight. I'm humbled to have received so much support from family, friends, and volunteers over the last several months, and we're just getting started. Now, a lot of you know me and know my history, but for those that don't, I want to share with you what led me to this point. I've lived in Newark my entire life. I was homeschooled through all my education. I'm the son of Nancy and Dan Dobbelaer, who are sitting right over there, and could we give them a round of applause, please? Now, they're small business owners. My father immigrated here from the Netherlands when he was young. His mother is from Indonesia, so that makes me about a quarter Indonesian, and I am very, very, very proud of that. My mother is a former teacher, and she was responsible for most of my education, so if you catch me saying something incorrect, you can just blame her. I began working when I was about 11 at our family business, doing trade work mainly, construction, electrical jobs, etc. I got hired at the YMCA the second I turned 16 and was old enough to become a lifeguard. I worked my way up to become one of the youngest ever lifeguard YMCA instructors at 18 and became responsible for training new lifeguards as well as continued training of current staff. With the help of my brother, we've obtained a lease contract to a 4-acre organic apple orchard, and we are also starting an organic blueberry farm with my father right here on Horns Hill Road. You know, the question that I get the most is, what made you want to run? Well, I'm not running for city council simply because I want to get into politics. I'm seeking elected office because I believe that local government has a bigger impact on your everyday life than state or federal government. And I also believe that in this life, I will dedicate both my time and my energy to improving the lives of others and raising a standard to which my fellow young people can adhere to. I think it's a fundamental part of being a good citizen to give back to the community that helped raise you. Central to our campaign has been listening to the needs and concerns of our residents, and I've been able to do just that. I've been to countless events in the city, and me and my team have already knocked on countless doors. At a Fraternal Order of Police event, as well as the FDR dinner, I met with first responders, some of them are here right now, who put their lives on the line every day to protect us. Those folks have my utmost respect, and thank you very much for being here, all the firefighters that are here right now. At a Newark Think Tank on Poverty meeting, I learned more about our city poverty problem, and I learned that 1 in 3 residents of our city are living in poverty. At an event hosted by a Newark Addiction Recovery Initiative, I learned more about the crippling disease of drug addiction, and I heard some inspiring testimony about the good that that program is doing every day. My community can count on me to work on each of these issues and show up to every council meeting. I think it's really, really important to be invested in the community that you want to serve, and I am literally rooted right here in Newark. Now, we have some complex problems in Newark. A citywide budget crisis is leading to lack of infrastructure improvements, as well as underfunding our fire and police services. Poverty remains a growing problem, and we haven't been immune to the opioid epidemic. It's easy to get discouraged when we start talking about the issues, but you have to get everything on the table in order to come up with solutions. I'm sure over my career as a council representative, I will encounter countless problems, but I have an endless amount of energy to tackle each and every one, and a willingness to hear both sides of the issues that can often divide us. Now, before I close, I wanted to end tonight with a quote from Martin Luther King. Dr. King once said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" I've asked myself that question leading up to my announcement to run. Our city has faced challenges and triumphs over the years. I have a passion and a drive to propel this city forward, and that's why I'm humbly requesting your support for my candidacy for Newark City Council 6th Ward And just thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. The very last thing I want to say is I want to thank all my volunteers, Zachary, Blake, Alexis, Elvis, Cecile, and last but not least, Dan. You all put an incredible amount of time and effort into my campaign, and I am forever grateful. So thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Well, that's it. So, you can go home now. Seth, your parents are here, so they know you already broke your curfew. I don't know what to say. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight. This is a wonderful turnout for a fundraiser for a city council candidate, and you know, you'd like to think that money doesn't make a difference, but it in fact does. So if you haven't written a second check or a third check tonight, please get to it already. Thank you guys.